rides the bus. There was a girl named Walia Mai who was called Wali for short. She was 8 years old and very curious about things. Her favorite pastime was standing in the front doorway of her house watching what was happening in the street outside. There was no playmates of her own age on her street, and this was about all she had to do. But for Wali, standing at the front door was very bit as enjoyable as any of the elaborate games other children played. Watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. The most fascinating things of all was the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. It passed through her street each hour, once going to the town and once coming back. The sight of the bus filled each time with a new set of passengers was a source of unending joy for Wali. Day after day she watched the bus, and gradually a tiny wish crept into her head and grew there. She wanted to ride on the bus, even if just once. This wish became stronger and stronger until it was an overwhelming desire. Wali would stare wistfully at the people who get on or off the bus when it stopped at the street corner. Their faces would kindle in her longingness, dreams, and hopes. If one of her friends happened to ride the bus and tried to describe the sight to the town to her, Wali would be too jealous to listen and would shout in English, "Proud, proud!" Neither she nor her friends really understood the meaning of the word, but they used it often as a slang expression of disapproval. Over many days and months, Wali listened carefully to conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used the bus, and she also asked a few discreet questions here and there. This way she picked up various small details about the bus journey. The town was 6 miles from her village. The fare was 30 paisa one way, which is almost nothing at all. She heard one well-dressed man say, but to Wali, who scarcely saw that much money from one month to the next, it seemed a fortune. The trip to the town took 45 minutes. On reaching town, if she stayed in her seat and paid another 30 paise, she could return home on the same bus. This meant that she could take the 1 o'clock afternoon bus, reach the town at 1:45, and to be back home by about 2. On and on went her thoughts as she calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. Well, one fine spring day, the afternoon bus was just on the point of leaving the village and turning into the main highway when a small voice,
"Stop the bus! Stop the bus!"
Hurry, whoever it is, come quickly.
"It's me. I'm the one who has to get on."
Oh, really? You don't say so.
"Yes, I simply have to go to the town, and here's my money."
Okay, but first you must get on the bus.
"Never mind, I can get on by myself. You don't have to help me."
The conductor was a jolly sort, fond of jokes.
Oh, please don't be angry with me, my fine madam. Here, have a seat right up there in front. Everybody move aside. Please give way for madam.
It was a slack time of day and there were only 6 or 7 passengers on the bus. They were all looking at Wali and laughing with the conductor. Wali was overcome with shyness. Avoiding everyone's eyes, she walked quickly to an empty seat and sat down.
May we start now, madam?
It was a new bus, its outside painted a gleaming white with some green stripes along the sides. Inside, the overhead bars shone like silver. Directly in front of Wali, above the windshield, there was a beautiful clock. The seats were soft and luxurious. Wali devoured everything with her eyes, but when she started to look outside, she found her view cut off by a canvas blind that covered the lower part of her window. So she stood up on the seat and peered over the blind. The bus was now going along the bank of a canal. The road was very narrow. On one side there was the canal, and beyond it palm trees, grassland, distant mountains, and the blue sky. On the other side was a deep ditch, and then acres and acres of green field. Green, as far as the eye could see.
"Oh, it's all so wonderful."
"Listen, child, you should not stand like that." She looked to see who had spoken. It was an elderly man who had honestly been concerned for her, but she was annoyed by his attention.
Oh, sir, but this is a very grown-up madam, and do you think a mere girl could pay her own fee and travel to the city all alone?
I am not madam, remember that. And you have not yet given me my ticket.
I will remember.
Everyone laughed and gradually Wally too joined in the laughter. The conductor punched a ticket and handed it to her.
Just sit back and make yourself comfortable. Why should you stand when you have paid for a seat?
Because I want to.
But if you stand on the seat, you may fall and hurt yourself when the bus makes a sharp turn or hits a bump. That's why we want you to sit down, child.
I am not a child, I tell you. I am 8 years old.
How stupid of me, 8 years.
The bus stopped, some new passengers got on, and the conductor got busy for a time. Afraid of losing her seat, Wally finally sat down. An elderly woman came and sat beside her.
Are you all alone, dear?
Wally found that the woman absolutely repulsive. Such big holes she had in her earlobes and such ugly earrings in them. And she could smell the betel nut the woman was chewing and see the betel juice that was threatening to spill over her lips at any moment. You, who could be so sociable with such a person?
I'm traveling alone and I have got a ticket too.
Yes, she's on her way to town with a 30 paisa ticket.
Oh, why don't you mind your own business?
Proper for such a young person to travel alone? You know exactly where you are going in town? What's the street? What's the house number?
You need not bother about me. I can take care of myself.
Her first journey, what careful, painstaking, elaborate pains she had to make for it. She had thriftily saved whatever stray coins came her way, resisting every temptation to buy peppermints, toys, balloons, and the like. And finally, she had saved a total of 60 paise. How difficult it had been, particularly that day at the village fair, but she had resolutely stifled a strong desire to ride the merry-go-round, even though she had the money. After she had enough money saved, her next problem was how to slip out of the house without her mother's knowledge, but she managed this without too much difficulty. Every day, after lunch, her mother would nap from about 1 to 4 or so. Wally always used these hours for her excursion, as she stood looking from the doorway of her house or sometimes even ventured out into the village. Today, these same hours could be used for her first excursion outside the village. The bus rolled on now, cutting across a bare landscape, now rushing through a tiny hamlet or past an odd wayside shop. Sometimes the bus seemed on the point of gobbling up another vehicle that was coming towards them, or pedestrian crossing the road, but lo, somehow it passed on smoothly, leaving all obstacles safely behind. Trees came running towards them, but then stopped as the bus reached them, and simply stood there helpless for a moment by the side of the road before rushing away in the other direction. Suddenly, Wally clapped her hands with glee. A young cow, tail high in the air, was running fast right in the middle of the road, right in front of the bus. The bus slowed to a crawl, and the driver sounded his horn loudly again and again. But the more he honked, the more frightened the animal became, and the faster it galloped, always right in front of his bus. Somehow this was very funny to Wally. She laughed and laughed until there.
Hey lady, haven't you laughed enough? Better save some for tomorrow.
At last the cow moved off the road, and soon the bus came to railroad crossing. A speck of a train could be seen in the distance, growing bigger and bigger as it drew near. Then it rushed past the crossing gate with a tremendous roar and a rattle shaking the bus. Then the bus went on and past the rain station. From there it traversed a busy, well-laid-out shopping street and turning entered a wider thoroughfare. Such big, bright-looking shops, what glittering display of clothes and other merchandise. Such big crowds. Struck dumb with wonder, Wally gaped at everything. Then the bus stopped and everyone got off except Wally.
Hey lady, aren't you ready to get off? This is as far as your 30 paisa takes you.
No.
Why? Is something the matter?
No, nothing's the matter. I just felt like riding a bus, that's all.
Don't you want to look at the sights now that you are here?
All by myself? Oh, I'll be much too afraid.
But you were not afraid to come in the bus?
Nothing to be afraid about of that.
Well then, why not you go to that stall over there and have something to drink? Nothing to be afraid of about that.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that.
Well then, let me bring you a cold drink. It will be my treat and not cost you anything.
No, please no.
The conductor shrugged and they waited until it was time for the bus to begin the return journey. Again, there were not many passengers.
Won't your mother be looking for you?
No one will be looking for me.
The bus started and again there were the same wonderful sights. Wally was not bored in the slightest and greeted everything with the same excitement she'd felt that first time. But suddenly she saw a young cow lying dead by the roadside, just where it had been struck by some fasting moving vehicle.
Isn't that the same cow that ran in front of the bus on our trip to town?
What had been a lovable, beautiful creature just a little while ago had now suddenly lost its charm and its life, and looked so horrible, so frightening as it lay there, legs spread eagled, a fixed stare in its lifeless eyes, blood all over.
The bus moved on. The memory of the dead cow haunted her, damping her enthusiasm. She no longer wanted to look out the window. She sat there, glued to her seat, until the bus reached her village at 3:40. She stood up and stretched herself.
Well, sir, I hope to see you again.
Okay, madam, whenever you feel like a bus ride, come and join us, and don't forget to bring your fare.
She laughed and jumped down from the bus. Then away she went, running straight for home. When she entered her home, she found her mother awake and talking to one of Wally's aunt, the one from South Street. This aunt was a real chatterbox, never closing her mouth once she started talking.
Where have you been?
Yes, you are right. So many things in our midst and in the world outside. How can we possibly know about everything? And even when we do know about something, we often can't understand it completely. Can we?
Oh, yes.
What? What's that you say?
Oh, I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge.
She is? And yet look how she pokes her nose into our conservation. Just as though she were a grown lady.
Wally smiled to herself. She didn't want them to understand her smile. But then there wasn't much chance of that. Was it there?